Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and today I want to talk about how Nintendo's Monolith Soft is definitely up to something huge here, or perhaps several different projects that I think are very exciting. So we're going to be having a little bit of a simple but quick and hopefully fun discussion on these different projects that they may have in the works that perhaps could be somewhat hinted at by their recent 25th anniversary celebration. So that's what we're getting into today. But before going forward, let me ask that if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. And now here is a brief message about today's sponsor. Snaxy is the ultimate Android gaming mobile app where you can earn incredible rewards from over 100,000 options while playing your favorite mobile games. And it also helps publishers acquire new users. Every gaming session with Snaxy is rewarding, with over 100,000 items like gift cards, game skins, and in-game coins. Integrate Snaxy into your routine for non-stop gaming, personalized recommendations, generous rewards, and frequent content updates. For more on the Snaxy app, check out the link in the description below. So firstly, let's just take a look at Monolith Soft's website where they are celebrating the 25th anniversary. What you'll notice here, you'll see these different characters. They all look great. They are from the different Monolith Soft games, not just Xenoblade. I, being a hardcore Nintendo fan, really only know the Xenoblade games, but Monolith Soft does have a history beforehand. Takahashi, the mastermind behind all the amazing stories of the Xenoblade games, at one point worked for Square before they became Square Enix. And there he created Xenogears. And then after that, moved on to make Monolith Soft, where Namco became their publisher, where they made different games including the Xenosaga games and Baten Kaitos 1 and 2, until eventually Nintendo became their publisher, now outright owns Monolith Soft. Monolith Soft is a totally 100% Nintendo developer, where they've been making all the amazing Xenoblade games, while also doing a lot of co-development for a lot of other bigger Nintendo franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon. But anyways, going back to the website here, when you refresh the page, apparently they show a different art every time, and yep, there it is. We see a lot of other really big characters. And one more time, I think, yeah, this is a different row of characters here. So they keep showing different arts for these characters, and I mean, I love all the Xenoblade characters, so they look awesome. I don't know who this is, but I'm sure some of you who were fans of Monolith Soft beforehand probably do. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. But on to the message from the representative director, Hirohide Sugiura. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, or somewhat close to it. Monolith Soft is pleased to announce its 25th anniversary. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to all of you who have played and enjoyed the games we have released, to all the people involved who have helped us create our games, including our partner companies and external creators, and to our staff and their families. Looking back, 25 years have seemed long but short at the same time. There are many twists and turns, but I feel that the results of facing and overcoming various problems one by one have led to where we are today. Since our founding in October 1999, our staff has grown significantly. We now have 3 development bases, and we have worked on many major titles, but at the same time, I don't think I've been able to fully feel satisfied with the feeling of having succeeded or achieved something. This is something that I will continue to pursue as long as Monolith Soft exists, and it is something that I will never be able to achieve in the future. If Monolith Soft is to continue on into the future, it is still in its genesis stage. We want the company's history to continue for 100, 200, or even 500 years, so we want to strive for even higher quality without being satisfied with the status quo. We would like to thank you for your continued support in the future. And what you're going to notice as we talk more about this stuff and then get into their little anniversary video, there is this emphasis on looking towards the future. They are celebrating their past, they are acknowledging it, but it's all about looking ahead, the ambition, the growth, and here they're talking about being around for 500 years, which is kind of crazy to just like think about that, because obviously that extends well beyond any of our lifespans. But also this thinking feels very Xenoblade, or perhaps it feels very Monolith Soft. Maybe this is the kind of theming we even had before the Xenoblade games, How you have this group of people that are always looking towards the future and improving that future. So it's just very interesting that they have this thinking overall with the anniversary. But before getting into this anniversary video, I do want to point out that they put up all these different wallpapers commemorating the 25th anniversary with different characters throughout their different games. By the way, this is from Disaster Day of Crisis. I think that was what the game was called. It only came out in Japan. I never got a chance to play it. I remember seeing videos of it when I was little, and I thought it was so cool, but I never played it. It never came out here in the States. So, but anyways, they have all these different like wallpapers, and there's nothing too crazy about them. They're things we've seen before. They just all been organized together for the celebration of the 25th anniversary, and it's cool stuff. But something that I'm noticing is that while they are taking this time to celebrate and acknowledge different projects they've had in the past, even before they worked with Nintendo, they're not including any of the work that they've co-developed for, like Zelda, Splatoon, or Animal Crossing. Which, I get it, it's not necessarily a big deal. This is more so about what they've created themselves, right, as opposed to what they've helped out with. And so maybe that's why this is what they're doing, because this is about what Monolith Soft has created. And from that perspective, okay, I think it makes a lot of sense. So it's cool. But looking at this anniversary video they put together, there are some very interesting things that I notice. Firstly, they have all these little bubbles that are showing different games throughout their history. And it does have me wondering about the rights issue, because Monolith Soft, as I described in the past, has changed. Takahashi initially worked with Square, then Namco, now Nintendo. So the rights for different games come from different places. Now we're just seeing some simple imagery here, it's nothing too crazy, but it's just interesting to see all this being put together here. But with this thinking in mind, as we get to the end, and we see Noah and Mio, then Rex and Pyra and Mithra, and Shulk and Fiora, and they all appear to be as they were at the end of their games. But then we also see Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles X, and Cosmos, who's from Xenosaga, I believe, not a Nintendo series. It's very weird. Or at least I think it's weird because, yeah, I mean, sure, they are celebrating their history and Xenoblade is what they are currently responsible for, so that all makes sense. But including Cosmos is the weird part, because that's not Nintendo. Now, Cosmos was a blade in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they were able to get that done, so that is clearly a strong reference towards Xenosaga, and I've heard that there are a lot of references to Xenosaga in the Xenoblade games, but as someone who hasn't played it, I don't really notice these things. But anyways, having this character there, I think it should lead the speculation towards a Xenosaga remaster some kind down the road, where perhaps Takahashi will at least provide some guidance or overseeing of the project to some extent. Now, Xenosaga, Namco, or now Bandai Namco, they're the ones that have the rights to that series. But what's interesting is that Nintendo and Bandai Namco work really well together now. They have several projects that they have put together. Bandai Namco literally has a dedicated studio just for Nintendo projects. So there's a great relationship there. Monolith Soft is a part of Nintendo now. And if we're seeing something like Cosmos here in this anniversary celebration in this way, not just like a quick image reference, in the past I was skeptical that something like this would happen, but you know what? I think something like this could happen. And we did see recently remasters for Baten Kaitos 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. So while maybe the remaster for Xenosaga wouldn't be something extremely ambitious like a definitive edition, I still think something like this could be in the cards, and perhaps it could be a co-developed project where Nintendo and Bandai Namco publish it, or just one and that they simply just come to some sort of agreement where they work somewhat together. I don't think it's really that much of a stretch when we're seeing something like this in their anniversary celebration. Of course, I will also say that it's completely possible that the only reason Cosmos is here is because the only character they could put with such significance at the end of this anniversary celebration that would be un-Nintendo. And so they wanted something else there at the end to clearly emphasize their history before Nintendo. I think there could be something to that thinking, but I also think that it could have something to do with both. But a Xenosaga remaster isn't the only big thing that I think is on the table here. I think there are other things, and in my opinion, bigger things. To me, this feels kind of on the nose, but the literal song that they have playing throughout this celebration video is Future Awaits. It's literally all about the future, looking towards the future, yet here they are showing their main Xenoblade characters in their end stages for their respective games. Excluding Elmo, because I think that's more of a spoiler issue. And we do know that recently, they put out a job hiring post for this new RPG project, a very ambitious one that was suggested to be a big open world RPG. Now, when we talked about this a little while back, my thought process on it is that this has nothing to do with the rumored or leaked codename Legacy project that we think has to do with this new IP that Monolithsoft has been working on for years. What you'll notice is that now that post about with these pieces of concept art is no longer on Monolithsoft's site. And so the thinking has been that we are now approaching the release for this new IP project they've been working on for such a long time, and we're going to see that early on for Switch 2. And maybe it's even something we see in the reveal trailer of Switch 2, which hopefully is happening very soon. So going back to this anniversary celebration, you could just look at it as an anniversary celebration, but Monolithsoft does talk about moving towards the future. It's not just about celebrating the past and resting on their laurels, but continuing to grow. And so I think the new RPG project is separate from this legacy game. I think they're two different things. And I don't think we've seen the end of Xenoblade. I do think there will be a Xenoblade Chronicles 4, even if it's not necessarily called the Xenoblade Chronicles 4. I do think something Xeno is coming down the road. And just considering the name brand, I would assume that they will stick with Xenoblade, especially if they are still continuing on with Nintendo. And so essentially what I think we're talking about here is several projects. I think we are talking about the next Xenoblade game that is in the works, but also this other project that I think we are approaching a release for that's going to be pretty major and something that's a bit of a departure from the Xenoblade series. And maybe there is a Xenosaga remaster in the works. But I'll also go back to this potential leak from Ryan from the Bronx, who we believe is likely Midori, who was responsible for all the initial codename leaks, a lot of which have proven true at this point, which is where we get the Legacy codename, by the way. But they also mentioned that Xenoblade Chronicles X should be coming to not just Nintendo Switch, but also Nintendo Switch 2, it having its own version. So we could be looking at Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, a Xenosaga Remaster series, a new IP, and eventually Xenoblade. Not all at the same time, of course. These different things would be spaced out, and they'd be made by different teams. Like Xenosaga, I don't actually think would be remastered by Monolithsoft, but they might have some say in the project, some minor say. Takahashi specifically. And then the new RPG project that we think will probably be something related to Xenoblade, that's probably years away. But in the not so distant future, I think we could see something like a Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, and also this new IP. And just looking at the pattern of releases from Monolithsoft, they tend to take one break year after they've wrapped up some sort of major project. So last year we got Future Redeemed, the expansion to Xenoblade Chronicles 3, as they wrapped it up in 2023. 2024 has been the break year. I expect something from Monolithsoft in 2025, and there's an argument to be made that it might be more than one thing. We might see Xenoblade Chronicles X fairly soon, because they're going to need some Switch 1 titles, but also this new IP I expect to be a Switch 2 exclusive title, which maybe comes out in the same year. I realize it's a little bit unprecedented for Monolithsoft, so maybe that's a 2026 game, or even perhaps a bit later than that. But the overall point is that there is reason to be excited if you are a Monolithsoft fan. They are clearly cooking something up here, and they are looking towards the future. It awaits. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.